Hi everyone, welcome back to Summer Lane Zoo. Today we are working on the third habitat for the zoo and the third habitat in the tropical section. Today's habitat is for the common warthog, one of my favorite animals in Planet Zoo, and one of those that I just always find myself building a habitat for in each zoo, no matter where I'm building. So yeah, I'm really excited to be adding these into this new zoo, and I thought it would be fitting to add them right down the path from the babirussas and the red river hogs, just to kind of keep these same style of animals all together in one spot. I'll do the same in the future for other types of animals, so small and big cats I will lump together, bears, gazelles, and antelopes. I'll typically build them close by, and it just kind of makes it easy in my head. It makes sense. So with this habitat, I again wanted to keep it similar style to the two before, and just to really start to solidify a theme for this section of the zoo. And I'm really pleased with how I did that with the mud walls, and I used the same glass barriers. I pulled the exact same ones that I used in the red river hog and the babirussa habitat. But I've done a little bit of research on the warthog just because I thought they were really interesting, and I learned a few things that I thought would be interesting to share with you, and some things that, even though I've known about these animals for years, they surprised me. First being is just how heavy they can be. The males, I read they can be up to 330 pounds, which is so much heavier than I thought. I've seen these in zoos a number of times, and the adults are a lot larger than you would think. They're almost like the size of like a large dog, and they're really sturdy looking, really kind of thick animals, thick pigs, but 330 pounds is a lot heavier than I thought. Another thing I learned that was interesting is that they sleep in burrows, but they're not the animals that actually make them. So they'll steal them from animals like aardvarks that actually make the burrows, and then if it's a female with her young, she'll sleep in there, and will also let her young in first, and then she'll back in, so that way if any predators or any other animals come in, she'll be able to deal with them. So really interesting animals, and I never thought to look up facts about them until I started building this habitat. So right here, going in with the rocks that I always do to add some extra texture, I was just thinking the rocks that were added in the aquatic pack, those flexi-color ones, it's hard to think about building habitats before those were available. Just I use them in almost every habitat, I feel. So they're some of my favorites. And speaking of rocks, I think there's some potential to get some new rocks and rock sets in the future. I know we just received some with the Oceania pack, which I'm really grateful for. They're those black lava rocks, and they look really great, and I haven't used them all too much, but I think there's some more opportunity to create some additional faux rock types. I know a lot of modern zoos will use that just because it's far more affordable and easier to add to enclosures than real rock. And so I think there's a huge possibility and opportunity for adding new styles in the future. And I think also there's a lot of casual players that don't want to get as detailed, and creating they want to be able to plop down habitats a lot faster, and so adding some extra faux rock sets and pieces could be really useful for that. But in general, it's incredible to see like the amount of features and extra plants and pieces that we've received since the game launched. It's incredible that it's like half the habitats that I'm building here in this zoo, almost half, if not more than half of the pieces didn't exist at launch. And I'm so grateful they've added and continued to add DLCs over the years. And yeah, the textures and the details of all the pieces too have just been absolutely incredible. They just keep getting better and better. Like these plants I'm adding right here, they're just so much more high quality than some of the ones at launch. It's just the detail has been incredible. So I love adding lots and lots of plants and to my enclosures and just making them really lush. So anytime we get new plants, I'm really excited. And these ferns that I add on the mud walls are possibly my favorites. So I'm really pleased with how this habitat turned out, and I promise the next habitat will be something different. It's actually going to be for the sun bear, and continuing on in the tropical section. I've already received a few requests for tropical animals specifically to add to this section, but feel free, comment below or message me on Instagram and tell me what you would like to be added to the zoo, whether it's in the tropical section or another section. I'm going to be planning 100% there'll be a African savanna safari section. There's also going to be a designated Oceania section. I couldn't resist building for the Tasmanian devil and the kiwi, really all the animals that were added in the Oceania pack. I have to include them. They are so well made and so interesting. And in general, I find myself preferring to build for animals that have smaller enclosures. I just, even though they're not my favorites in real life, but I just find that some of the smaller habitats are more interesting to build for and a little bit more fun. So I'm really glad that we got those. All four habitat animals are pretty small compared to other animals from DLCs, so really happy we got those. I'm excited to start on the Oceania section as well. I'm not sure what's going to be the first animal in that section. I'm leaning towards maybe a kangaroo wallaby mixed species habitat, but please send me a message if you have some opinions or ideas, and I will incorporate those into the next build. But back to the Warthog build here. One of the things that is a tip that I learned early on was build the structures without the roofs and add those at the end. Just if you're going to be adding any elements to the interior, it's so much easier without the roofs. But lastly, I want to say thank you for tuning in to the third episode. I've had so much fun filming and creating these habitats, and I'm really looking forward to the future of the zoo, and excited to see what animals will be making it later on. I know sun bear will be next, but in the future we'll be adding Indian rhinos, Indian elephants, Bengal tigers, lemurs, and so much more. So if you're interested in watching those, consider subscribing and following me on Instagram, and I will see you in the next episode.